Good morning, students. Today we are going to continue the same lesson of Standard 9, 1.2, a synopsis, the Swiss family Robinson. In this lesson, in the first part, we have already studied that the William and his family were left alone in the island. They were trying to survive.
Thinking ahead of the next winter, father decided to create a place safe from the elements, a strong storage spot to protect themselves and their belongings. Fritz came up with the idea of a cave. Not finding one, they thought of carving out their own cave in the rock, abetting their camping site. On the smooth face of the rock, father marked the dimensions for an opening, and they picked away at the hard surface with their axes. Chisels. Chisel means a long bladed hard tool used to shape wood or stone. Another tool, hammers and shovels. Shovel means a tool with a blade. Over the next several days, the family cut windows in the rocks to allow for cross currents of air and for sunlight to enter the cave. It means they wanted to make such a house where there will be fresh air and ample of sunlight. When they had finished, they had 4 rooms, complete with a fireplace. Fireplace means a place where they can fire and cook food. They now had a new winter home. Because of the low light, the cave house they had built felt oppressive. As there was a shortage of ample of sunlight, they started feeling oppressive. To remedy this, father and Jack rigged up a new light. Rigged up means 2 feet out. They found a bamboo pole that would reach from the floor to the ceiling. Then, after securing it, Jack climbed to the top of the pole and hung a large oil lamp that they had rescued from the ship. It means now they tried to make their home more lighted. One day, they found that one of the family's huts had been completely destroyed. Destroyed means destructed, ruined, and the cultivated fields around it had been trampled and ruined. Trampled means tread on and crush. There were huge footmarks everywhere. Father saw massive damage. Massive means lot of, in large quantities, to trees as well as many huge footprints, which he identified as belonging to an elephant herd. So he noticed that these are the footmarks of elephant group. The next morning, the family began to design a new defense to discourage all wild animals from entering their cultivated lands. They also finalized their ideas about the new residence. Residence means dwelling place. Rather than building a house on stilts. Stilts means a small plot, 3-pointed support. So they decided, instead of having their house on three pointed support, which the elephant could knock down easily, they would. Wood is a model auxiliary which is used to express wish, speaker's wish. They would use four strong trees growing in a square near one another as the foundation. The trees were of equal size, approximately 12 feet apart. Apart means long. Thus, they built another safe home. 10 years passed, and the young boys were now young men. So, in this way, they have passed 10 years on that island, and those four young boys have become now young men, and their parents were very proud of. They called the island New Switzerland. Many adventures occurred over the years. So in these 10 years, they had to do many adventurous, courageous activities. On the shore of another island, Fritz had knocked down an albatross. Albatross is a large bird which was threatening to attack him, and found a rag tied to the large bird's leg. Rag means a small piece of cloth. On the rag was a message that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Stranded means left alone, helpless. Fritz had no idea how old the message was. His father suggested that smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano, since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity. Vicinity means neighborhood. The bird might have come from hundreds of miles away. However, Fritz felt that someone needed his help, and he was determined. Determined means he had made a strong decision. He made up his mind to do his best to find the sender. Before returning home, he had written his own note on the rag, retied the piece of cloth, that is the rag, to the albatross leg, and had watched the bird fly off. The note told whoever received it. So see what message she had written on that rag. Do not despair means don't be afraid, means don't be disappointed. So the message was, do not despair, help is near, means he had created positivity in the reader's mind. Fritz then successfully rescued the young woman. Her name was Jenny Montrose. Though she was shy at first, soon she got used to living with the Robinsons family. One day, they saw a ship which had laid anchor. An encampment had been set up on one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, Fritz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. So one day they had seen that their ship had laid anchor. So they had a binocular, that is spyglass. So they had checked the people. And Fritz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. They did not want the crew. Crew means the group of workers or the staff members working on a ship. They did not want the crew to think that they were savages. Savages means wild people. The next day, Fritz and his father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. So when they told the crew their history and Jenny's also, to everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired the captain's search. He believed his daughter was still alive after 3 years. The captain had decided to attempt to find her. When the crew heard the story of Robinson's family and Jenny's, they were surprised because, in fact, Jenny's father had inspired them, motivated them, encouraged them to search. The reason Jenny's father believed his daughter was still alive, though 3 years have been passed, and due to his inspiration, the captain had decided to attempt. Attempt means to make effort, to try to find her with a burst of celebration. Burst means a sudden, brief outbreak. The family, passengers, and crew of the British vessel headed towards New Switzerland. Everyone was amazed by the prosperity and good health of the survivors. After this meeting, the crew headed towards the dwelling place where the Robinson family was staying. When they reached there, they saw that every member was having a good health and they have prospered. So they were surprised. As the day ended, the father realized that decisions must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. So at the end of the day, father wanted to know. Now they had the opportunity to return. So he wanted to know who is going to stay on the island and who is going to return. So she wanted to make the decision. Elizabeth and her husband, that is William, did not wish to live anywhere but on the same island because they had stayed there for many years and they were habituated to stay there. They had been there for so long and had grown used to their life. Jenny asked if anyone would support her return to England. Fritz was the first to respond. When Jenny offered that is anyone coming to England, the Fritz was the first to respond. He offered cheers for us who were going to Europe. Ernest, on the other hand, the younger boy, Ernest, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. Franz, who was the youngest boy, decided to join Fritz in leaving. Franz wanted a chance to receive an academic education. The youngest boy wanted to join Fritz and he wants to return to his native place because it was his wish to receive an academic education. Before Fritz left, He told his parents of his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. Before leaving that New Switzerland, Fritz frankly told his parents about his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. The father had kept a record for all the adventures they had had on the island. William, the head of the family, had already noted down what courageous activities they had faced. They had performed there, what problems they faced. He handed over the journals to the captain to be published, and William wanted that they must be published. That's why he had given the records to the captain. Then the ship departed. So students, through this lesson, we learn so many things, like how to maintain, how to adjust, how to make the use of the available things. Thank you.